Hello, welcome back. Alfred Toth here with The Life of Chai. I know I hope you've been watching the channel. I know there's a lot of yoga videos up there. They're getting better all the time. I'm really happy with the yoga videos. But remember, The Life of Chai actually started from the food blog, the written food blog. And it's a blog dedicated to vegetarian lifestyle, a lot of vegetarian recipes, and vegan. Actually, they're all vegan unless you add the cheese and milk to it. So this is a blog that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's about utensils. Okay, there's two different things. There's kitchen gadgets, which is like pressure cookers and all your slow cookers, which are popular these days, blenders, the Vitamix. Now, those things are all important to have. The Vitamix, microwaves, toaster ovens, I mean, the list grows, just like they do with the utensils, okay? Utensils are the little handheld tools, okay, that I'm sure you've probably remember your mom's drawer of utensils. That drawer that was just packed full of, what is this stuff? Half of it looked like bizarre torture tools and equipment, and it's really easy to buy what we think of as going to be time-saving utensils in the kitchen. It's really easy to see something on TV or in the store and buy it. Okay, so I'm going to show you my top 10. These are things that I use every day, but I'm going to show you a few that you'll probably have in your kitchen right now. I'm going to turn this camera down. Bear with me for the little click, click, click of this movement here. There we go. Tighten the screw. Okay, so these are just a few honorable mention here. What do we got here? Well, what's this thing? This thing is a potato masher. And if you're doing a lot of potatoes or certain recipes, gnocchis for instance, put the potatoes in there, cook potatoes, squeeze them out. This stuff is invaluable. Every kitchen, of course, needs can opener. You know, every kitchen needs ice cream scooper and some scissors. Yeah. How about this? Apple core press? Apple core cutter? I don't think so. I cut mine with a knife, and I'll show you that in the next video coming up here. Cherry pitter. Well, if you're making Cherry's Jubilee, or if you have a cherry tree, you definitely need one of these, because if you've ever tried to cut a cherry, cut the seed out of a cherry, you end up destroying the cherry before you get the seed. So that's something that's good to have. You know, along with the lines of fruit, this really cool device, and we've used it a lot, is to cut open a grapefruit, where you cut the grapefruit in half, and then this double-edged blade here is what's used to cut between the segments. This cuts right between the segments, and then this curved blade cuts around, and then you can just scoop out and eat your segments of grapefruit. So this one is actually a good one. Falafel press. Okay, again, if you make a lot of falafel, you can make them in your hand. You can make little balls, but this one you can just pack it in, drop it in oil. Pack it in, drop it in oil. Pack it and drop it. So these, and I have a collection of all three sizes, small, medium, and large. These come from Israel. And so, you know, you find something, if you do something a lot, and you find something like this, super valuable, definitely keep this one. Of course, every kitchen needs a collection of funnels. You're going to end up using these, not daily, but on a somewhat regular basis. This is something I use quite a bit, especially if you're frying or turning something hot, and definitely worth keeping. Drop an egg in there, cook it, nice, the same size as your English muffin. It's okay, but you know what, it's kind of gimmicky, again. This thing, we need this. You put flour in here, and flour tends to get in balls if it's moist. And whatever you're making, it's going to be really hard to mix a batter or a cookie mix or cake mix. So you put the flour in here and this sifts it out so that it's really fine powder again. And that's, again, that's super handy. You definitely need one of those. Orange zester. You're not going to use that very often, but when you need it, there's no other substitute for an orange zester. You can see that. Okay. Garlic press. Again, this thing comes out to wash it. Yes and no. I chop most of my garlic by hand, but if you get that where you don't get that glare. But this is definite. This is a definite. Here's another press for limes. Definitely margaritas, but we use this all the time, every day almost. Okay, so another definite. In this day and age, this is actually sold. It's not just a brush, because brush would hurt your hands. This is actually sold as to clean underneath your fingernails, and I use it to clean my whole hand with. I'm outside working in the garden, so you definitely, in this day and age with virus and whatnot. Okay, so now let's get to the top 10. Top 10. Top 10. First thing you need is a good cutting board. Okay? Oh, I forgot this one. You also need a way to measure how much time it takes to cook things. And to tell you the truth, honestly, I use my phone, and that works perfect to do minutes and whatnot. This is good too. You might end up with a couple because you may need to measure more than one thing at a time. So here we go. This is the top 10. Start with the cutting board. Okay. This is a beautiful cutting board. I really don't want to cut on it because I'm going to ruin it. Flexible cutting boards. These are invaluable. Invaluable. Now, I have an assistant in the kitchen because we do a lot of cooking. Mine is blue, hers is yellow. She's on the other side of the room there. Okay, you chop up your vegetables, you take it like this, and you dump it into the skillet. You just fold it and dump it. Easy. If this one gets all wet, I got another one. I have older ones too that we had from the last time. This one says meat on it. So if I ever do anything with meat or fish, which is very rare, but I use this one exclusively. Here's another one, just in case we need more. You saw the video the other day on cutting papaya. I cut it on this one. To take it to freeze it, I couldn't really take it over to freeze it like that, so I got another cutting board. This is an old one that we just use for certain things, and I'll freeze things in the freezer on this flexible cutting board. I'll freeze fruits. Freeze the fruit, and the next day you take it and you can take them off of this, but you need the white one underneath there for support. So we have a lot of cutting boards, and these are important. We use them. What else do we need? Well, you need about 3 knives. Chef knife, little paring knife, kind of a long one, and a bread knife. That's all you need. And I have my knife drawer. You can't see, but my knife drawer, this is where I stand and do all my preparation here at the cutting. And the stove is right here. But my knife drawer is right beneath me. Okay, so this is all you need. You just need 3 knives. I have 2 more. A small chef knife. Okay, that glare. Try to get away from that glare a little bit. But this knife is actually super sharp, and I have 1 more just like it. These I use exclusively for tomatoes or something I want to cut super thin. Super sharp knife, okay? And what do you do when you finish using a knife? When I finish, so I don't use these 2 for very much, except for when I want to cut something super sharp. Bread knife, these are the 2. What do I do when I finish using this one? I wash it immediately and put it to dry. Why? Because in 2 minutes I'm going to need it again. So you wash it immediately. You don't have to wash anything else in the kitchen, but your knives, you want to keep them washed because you're going to need it again in about 2 minutes. I put these away. I'll leave one out. So knife, this would fit in the category of knife. Pizza pizza cutter, but really it's one of those gimmicky things. I mean, yes and no, but I cut the pizza with this, or a bigger knife. You know, you have a collection of knives. Knives are important, but you only need 3. You really only need 3 knives, okay? Mixing bowls. Now this is something that I use every day. Mixing bowls. You're gonna need this one for like little pico de gallo, but I tend to use this size, and that's why I bought 2, because you need these all the time when you're cooking. And the bigger ones, you need a couple bigger ones. The medium size, this nice little small one, that was my mom's, but you use these all the time. Even got smaller ones. Okay, sometimes I want to pre-measure seasonings in one something like this, or cut up tomatoes or onions, or cilantro. I got a collection of these too. So these fit in the same category. These are your mixing bowls. So you definitely need mixing bowls. So what do we have so far? We have chef knife, cutting board, chef knife, and mixing bowls. Spoons. Spoons and spatulas. Okay. You need about 3 spoons. A nice wooden spoon, metal spoon, maybe a heat-resistant type of plastic so you don't scratch. I tend to use this one all the time. This is a really nice German brand. And so you definitely need your spoons. Spoons fit in the same family as spatulas. Okay, this is the spatula of old. I don't use these, to tell you the truth. I don't use these spatulas. These are the old kind. What I tend to use as a spatula is this. This is one of the best types. This goes in the blender. It's long and thin. It gets down in the blender. It gets into your mayonnaise bottle. It gets into whatever you need it to, long and thin. Okay. Other type of spatula is something like this. Okay, this is the spatula too. This is a little cookie, but you notice how flexible it is. That's important, and it's important when you're picking a spatula that it has that flex. If you have a really hard spatula, you can throw it away. So this fits in the same category, spoons and spatulas. You need a little collection of those. Okay, we're gonna work down to the top 5 now. Oh, there's one more. How do you measure food? Okay, well, you need, and these are something I start to use every single day. You need a little collection of measuring. For tablespoon and teaspoon, you need cups, 1/4 cup, 1/3 cup, 1/2 cup. These are gonna be for dry ingredients. Sometimes I use them for wet, but these are mainly for dry. These are for dry. Then you need something for wet ingredients, and these can take hot liquids as well. You can put dry ingredients. You can measure rice in here, but you can also measure milk. And again, if you have hot broth and you have to measure it, you can put it in these glass ones. But you definitely need something to measure. And this is another one that I'll use almost on a daily basis. A digital scale that you can zero out and measure things. Okay, if they say 1 tomato, is it a big tomato or small tomato? But if they say 100 grams of tomato, then you know. Instead of saying, and then again, even for the dog food, I weigh the dog food out so they get exactly the 120 grams in the morning and evening. So it's super important to be able to measure your food and work. Okay, we're going down from the top 10. Here's the top 10. Mortar and pestle. Okay, I use this every day for my chai, but beyond that, even better is your molcajete. And this is what we make salsa in. So this is the old blender. This is how we make salsa, and I just did a video on this. These two, you know, I use a blender, the Vitamix, but the molcajete, use it about once a week. the mortar and pestle almost daily. If you're grinding spices, this is a nice one. They have a bigger one, but this is it's really all you need. Okay, top 4, you need some kind of a grater. I use this every day. This 4-sided for cheeses, for tacos, burritos. You might want something like this too. But this one, definitely every single day. Okay, we're working down. Cast iron press. I think this is what they use at the plancha. They call it a plancha in Mexico, but you have a steak or something. Of course, we're vegetarian, so what would we use this for? We use this to hold down a garlic bread. When you're making garlic bread, or maybe you're just toasting bread, we use the cast iron for most everything we do. Okay, so this is definitely worth its weight in gold. This is an extra hand, and I would use this almost every day. So here we go, the last few pieces. And I think you saw this in the other video. This is the 2-sided vegetable peeler, okay? Normal peeler, everyone has a peeler, but this one, and again, if you can see the ginsu like blade on that, there it is. Okay, the ginsu, with this I can peel papaya, mango, peel tomatoes, peel eggplant, peel very delicate. This thing is worth its weight in gold. And the top #1 piece that I use every day, a laser digital thermometer. And I use this because we make the falafel, we make French fries, I make tacos, fried tacos. You need to know the temperature of your oil. When you're making French fries, if that oil is not at 350, if it's at 200 or 250, it's going to absorb the oil and you're going to end up with really greasy French fries. Okay, so with this I can see immediately the surface temperature, you know, and you can change it to Celsius really quick with just the press of a button. So this is an invaluable tool. I use this every day. Those are my top 10. I hope you enjoy that. And with that, I will sign off. Have a good evening and stay in touch. Stay tuned.